Okay, my very good evening to you all. We'll start our today's session. So these are the main topics, key areas we are going to discuss. How to prepare loan amortization schedule. We have already discussed what is meant by loan amortization under advanced financial accounting, right? SLFR 16 leasing arrangement. We prepared loan amortization schedule. So here we are going to discuss how to prepare loan amortization schedule using Excel uh, facilities, right? Then we discuss net present value and internal rate of return and estimation of beta factor for cap payment, right? So actually we are not going to discuss the theoretical aspect of net present value, internal rate of return, estimated the beta factor. These are relating to, especially as far as our financial management is concerned, NPV, net present value, and internal rate of return. Theoretical aspect will be discussed under that subject, right? What is NPV, how it is computed. But here we are going to discuss how to compute NPV and IRR using Excel inbuilt function, right? Okay, then beta factor again, it is very, very important concept in financial management. We'll discuss how to estimate beta factor. Right. So these are the key areas we are going to discuss. And first, we'll see how to prepare loan amortization schedule, or we can say loan repayment schedule. Once you obtain a loan, how that loan is repaid over the period, right? So there are different functions available in Excel that is useful for you to prepare loan amortization schedule, loan repayment schedule. For example, PMT function, right? PMT functions helps you to determine your annual or monthly loan installment. You know, there are different ways of computing loan installment using your finance knowledge. Using your finance knowledge, right? We can compute the annual installment, right? Basically, loan divided by present value interest factor annuity is your loan um, annual installment, annual or monthly installment. Okay, so my sorry for the interruption. So PMT functions can be used to determine or find out your annual or monthly loan installment. It may be monthly installment or quarterly installment or semi-annual installment or annual installment. Generally, a real life scenario, we usually experience monthly loan installment or it may be annual loan installment. This installment value can be easily be computed within PMT functions, right? If you want to find out the principal payment, right? PMT function, with the PMT function, you can compute what is the monthly installment. If you know the loan amount you borrow, if you know the interest rate, then you can easily compute loan installment. It may be annual installment or monthly installment, right? Using your finance knowledge, also you can compute this, right? Using finance knowledge, how to compute installment we discussed. Loan divided by present value interest factor annuity. ලෝන් එක බෙදුවොත් PVIFA වලින් ඔයාට ලැබෙනවා ඔයාගේ monthly or annual installment. හරි? Monthly installment නම් R divided by M and N multiplied by M අදාළ වෙනවා. If R is not there, not relevant, I mean if the if you pay annual basis, just get the present value of ordinary annuity factor. PVIFA වලින් තමයි අපි annual installment එක හොයන්නේ. කියන්නේ loan එක බෙදන්න ඕන present value interest factor annuity. එයින් ඔබට ලැබෙනවා කෙලින්ම annual loan installment එක. හරි. Using Excel, it is very convenient. We can easily prepare. So we'll see how to prepare loan repayment schedule with Excel inbuilt functions like this. Here we are going to use mainly this PMT function because PMT function is the important function with which you can determine the installment. If you know the installment, you can prepare repayment schedule even without the other function. Tau functions in අපිට supporting functions. But I recommend you to use these functions definitely. Other functions not that needed because we can find out principal payment very easily. How we can find out the principal payment? Annual installment minus interest. It gives you principal payment. So we don't need to use this particular functions, but if it is need, like if you wish, you can apply this. Uh, these principal payment and interest payment lamai can be easily be computed using ordinary Excel functions. But payment installment computation, it's very convenient to compute with PMT function. We'll see how to do this, right? Okay, this is a PMT function. So we'll discuss accordingly PMT function, right? PMT functions. So what is PMT function? It calculates the monthly or annual loan installment, annual repayment, how much you need to pay monthly basis or quarterly basis or semi-annual basis or annual basis. I have just mentioned here monthly or annual, but your period payment may be monthly or quarterly or semi-annual or annual, right? Okay. So it helps you to determine the installment, right? So actually, installment is the important one you need to determine when it comes to prepare loan repayment schedule, right? So you can easily compute PMT for annual installment or monthly installment using PMT function. So this is the syntax of the function. PMT function එක Excel වල syntax එක Excel වල type කරද්දී මේ කියන variables input කරන්න ඕන. As usual, you need to start your function typing the first. You need to type equal sign to tell Excel that you are writing a formula. Then this is the formula. Initially, you need to type PMT. Then Excel recognizes you are going to determine what installment for a particular loan. So accordingly, with respect to loan, you need to have this information. What are the information you need to have? You need to have rate, right? The interest rate, the number of payment, present value කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ loan එක, the loan you are going to borrow today, and this future value, right? I will explain when it applies, right? Basically, these are the syntax. So rate represent what? Interest rate applicable to the loan. Then NPER means, it means the total number of payments. For example, if you borrow loan for a 5-year period, if you borrow a loan for 5-year period, repayment period, and if you pay annual installment, right, total number of payment is 5. Loan period is 5 years, and you are making 5-year, you are making annual installment. So how many payments? 5-year to 5 annual installment, 5 installment, right? So accordingly, NPR represents how many number of payments you make, right? If you take loan for 5 years and if you are paying monthly installment, period is 5 years, but you are paying monthly installment. Per annum, 12 months is for 5-year period, how many payments? 60 payments, right? Okay. PV කියන්නේ the initial, in our loan scenario, principal. PV means principal. Actually, PV means the loan you borrow, right? Loan you borrow today, right? Then FV, this very bit strange thing to you, Lamai, when you borrow a loan and when you start repaying the loan installment, end of the loan period, what happened to your loan balance? Your loan balance becomes zero, right? If you borrow 5 million today, and if you are going to repay the loan as scheduled for 5 years, maybe monthly basis or annual basis, end of the loan period, your loan becomes zero. You are keep paying your installment. End of the loan period, after making the final installment, what happens? Your loan becomes zero. So that's your usual expectation. You borrow a loan after the uh, ordinary usual right repayment without interruption. You are going to repay it. So end of the loan period, your loan becomes zero. There is no expectation. But Lamai, sometime it is possible you borrow a loan today, 5 million loan you borrow, and you are going to make a payment installment during the loan period. You are going to make a loan installment payment. End of the loan repayment, you need to fully settle the loan. In addition, you need to make a cash saving, right? Kind of bit unusual thing. What the requirement? You borrow a particular loan today, let's say 5 million loan you borrow, and you determine the installment in a manner, right? You are going to repay the loan for the loan during the loan period. At the end of the period, loan becomes zero. In addition, you have created a saving balance. So end of the loan period, you will fully settle your loan, and with the bank, you may have you want to create additional saving. That means after the loan period, you fully settle your loan and you can take withdraw some saving balance as well. So accordingly, if you have any idea of settling the loan and in addition you want to create a saving balance, that particular future target saving balance should be put here under FB. So first put the loan rate. NPR means loan number of loan installment payment paid. Present value means your loan amount you borrow. Future value, some people want to fully settle the loan and create a saving balance so you can take home that balance, right? So if you have any idea of settling the loan and generating a saving balance, that saving balance should be put as the future value, future target, future saving balance. May type you all know there are two main types of annuity payments: ordinary annuity and due annuity. Ordinary annuity occurs at the end of the period, due annuity occurs at the beginning of the period. So type represents if you pay your installment at the end of each period, you need to put in here zero. So then Excel knows your installment payment occurs at the end of the period. If you put one, right, Excel identifies you are repaying the loan at the beginning of the period. But most of the cases, Lamai, practically loan scenario, you borrow the loan today, go to a bank and borrow a loan today, and you start repaying loan at the end of each month or at the end of each quarter or at the end of each year. So most of the loan related scenario, your installment payment usually occurs at the end of the period. So accordingly, you can type here, you can put insert here zero most of the cases if you repay the loan at the end of the period. anyway, if you start repaying the loan at the beginning of each period, you need to insert 1. So accordingly, all this syntax I explained. Rate means rate negotiate with the bank. NPR means number of installment payment you are planning. PV means your loan you borrow. FV means if you have any idea of generating a saving balance end of the loan settlement, right? Type means whether you are paying loan at the beginning of each month or year or at the end of each year. Most of the cases it is paid at the end. That means ordinary type of payment. Which case you need to put 0 to indicate if you are paying at the end, 1 if you are paying at the beginning. So බොහෝ විට ඔයාලා මේකෙදී loan scenario එකේදී 0 enter කරා නම් හරි. But if you have any arrangement with the bank, බැංකුව අද loan එක disperse කරලා අදම installment එක collect කරොත් first installment එක, then you need to put here 1 because bank disperse the loan today and recover the first installment today itself. Thereafter each beginning of each period you are paying. But most of the cases it is very unlikely. Informal rural level, village level, informal level එකේ නම් ඔය ණය දෙන මිනිස්සු ණය දීලා එදාම ගන්නවා පළවෙනි installment එක. එතකොට අපි ගත්ත at the beginning you start paying the loan, right? But most of the cases loan is paid at the end of each period. So which case 0 දැම්ම නම් Excel identify කරනවා you are paying installment at the end of period, right? That's it. So these are the symbols we want. So we will, it's not that complicated. I just explained the syntax. We will now see practical scenario. So we'll see how to do this. Okay, let's consider develop a simple model inputs. You can do with me, right? Don't just be a viewer, right? And just you need to do with me. Open your laptops, open your Excel sheets and do with me, right? Okay, so the inputs for loan scenario, you need to first determine what is the loan you borrow. Let's say loan amount, right? Loan. These inputs should be there. Loan amount you borrowed, right? Loan facility, let's say loan facility. Then let's say agreed interest rate. In addition, the period. Let's say period we put in years, right? Basically, these are the required inputs, right? And we want to determine, so output, let's say we want to first determine the installment. Loan, let's say annual loan installment. Annual loan installment, right? Okay, let's assume some hypothetical figures. Let's assume we want to borrow 5 million loan. Right. 5 million loan. Let's assume interest rate is 18%, 18%, and repayment period, loan period is 5 years. So these are the inputs, right? So we'll see annual loan installment. That means we borrow 5 million at a rate of 8% for 5 years, and we are going to repay the loan in 5 annual installment. Only 5 installment. Annually pay at the end of each period. So that's the scenario. So we want to determine lamai annual loan installment. Annual loan installment. In finance, right? Let me to refresh your knowledge in finance. According to my finance, if you want to determine the loan installment, right? Annual installment equal very simple. Manually, if you are going to do it manually, loan amount should be divided by present value interest factor annuity. Present value interest factor annuity. So accordingly, Can you determine present value interest factor annuity? Yes. For you to determine present value interest factor annuity, you need to only know interest rate and the year. N and R. R and N. R and N තිබෙනවා නම් interest factor annuity හොයන්න පුළුවන්. You all have the time value sheets. So we'll see how to compute this using your finance knowledge. Finance knowledge එකකින් first determine the present value interest factor. Let me to take the our time value sheets. දැන් මෙතන අපි finance පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්නේ. අපි මේ පැත්තත් බලමු because we all are in the same class, right? Finance වලින්. Let me to take that time value sheets. Um, go to financial management and time value tables. This is our present value interest factor table. These are the table we want. We want to use present value interest factor annuity table. This is future value table. This is future value table. What we need is present value of an annuity. Here PVIFA. PVIFA wala lamai 18%, 18% and 5 years. 18% and 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our present value interest factor. How much? 3.127. 3.127. So take PVI, we write somewhere here 3.127 approximately. Because decimal set it out. 3.127. Okay. So what is the loan? Annual loan installment? Annual loan installment is equal loan divided by present value interest factor annuity. So this should be the annual loan installment. 5 million ගත්තොත් you need to pay annually 1,598,977, right? So this is your finance, right? Financial management. Use right. In financial management, you are not allowed to use Excel and calculation, right? Only the calculator and the time value tables are given. You should know this formula, right? In finance, this is how we compute annual loan installment. How to compute annual loan installment in finance? Very simple. Loan divide present value interest factor annuity. For you to find out present value interest factor annuity, you need to only know two variables R and N. Using R and N, read the table, take the annuity factor, divide the loan by the annuity factor. This is our the annual loan installment, right? So you can say it is. You can see it is not that convenient, right? It is not that convenient. Okay, this is how installment is computed using your financial management knowledge. So we'll use Excel formula that we just discussed using PMT. Using PMT function, we can determine this annual loan installment, right? So what is the PMT function? First type equal sign, then type PMT. You can see PMT functions appeared at the top. Double click. Then that syntax comes. That syntax comes. So, right, then show the rate. Rate is our interest rate. Show this rate. Then comma. NPR. NPR means number of payments. Period is 5 years. Loan is paid annually. Number of payments how much? Just 5 years. Just 5. PV. PV කියන්නේ ළමයි present value. Present value means amount you borrowed today. PV means our loan. Comma. FV means I told you FV means whether it depends on whether you want to generate additional saving by the time you fully settle your loan. Let's say people, right? People, they don't want to generate additional saving, but they just want to, let's say, settle the loan. No additional saving, right? You don't need to make saving. What you just want to know, what you just want to do, right? Achieve is settle the loan and make your loan zero, and you are not going to you are not bothering about generating saving. Let's say you don't want to make any saving. You don't need to generate a saving balance. I just need to make my loan zero, right? So accordingly, If you don't want to generate any target future saving, put it 0 or just ignore it. Put it 0. That means you are not going to generate any saving. Then second syntax, final syntax is type. Type means whether you are repaying your loan at the beginning of each year or end of each year. I told you generally loan scenario, you borrow loan today and start your loan repayment at the end of each year, each month, most of the cases. Aim is if it is paid at the end of month, you can put in 0. Okay, we put in all the required information, right? Then hit enter button. You can see, Lamai, we got the same answer. Same answer. There's a slight difference. Don't worry about that. Why there's a slight difference? Because this our present value interest factor, annuity factor, 3.127. It is an approximate value because there may be some other decimal. So don't worry about this difference, right? This is more accurate than this value because this 3.127 may have some rounding effect. Don't worry about that. So you can now see, right, importance of PMT function. Using PMT function, you can easily compute your installment, right? So I'm not going to discuss theoretical aspect of finance hereafter. Just delete this. Okay, right. You determine loan installment. Lamai, this is enough for us to prepare loan repayment schedule. This is enough. Even if there are some additional Excel functions relating to loan repayment, I recommend you, this is enough, right? We'll see. You must know, right? Schedule, loan repayment schedule. Headings you should know. Usually there are 5 columns. You can go for even with 4 columns, but you recommend you to go with 5 column, 5 headings, 5 column headings, loan repayment schedule. So what are the ideal headings you have? Initially, first column you should put open loan balance, open balance. We have prepared in right several repayment rate schedules, right? Open balance. Then we can put interest column. Then you can put installment column. Then you can say, right, principal payment. Principal payment means my loan repayment. Loan ke karna reduction, right? Finally, you can reach to uh, closing balance. Closing balance, right? So this our heading, right? Okay. And we have first, right, 5 installment, installment 1, installment 2, installment 3, installment 4, or you can just drag it, copy, drag, 5 installment, right? So first you can take your open loan balance. At the beginning you have open loan balance of this much. I make it F4 fixed constant. This is your open loan balance. Now you are going to repay your loan. You are going to make your first installment at the end of month year. Today you borrow 5 million and go right. You go home and use those money to whatever your purpose. After 1 year, you go to the bank to pay the installment. By the time they charge interest on the balance you borrow, loan you borrow. How much of interest they charge on your loan on this 5 million, Lamai? Since you are going to the bank since you are visiting the bank after 1 year's time, for the 1 year period, they charge interest on this loan balance times this interest rate. Up your fix karamu, F4 gahala, right? එතකොට ළමයි 5 million loan එකට end of the year එයාලා charge කරන interest එකක් 900,000. You are paying to the bank this much of installment. ඔයාලගේ installment payment එක how much ළමයි? This is your installment. Right? This is your installment. You pay. I make it constant. Right? පැහැදිලිද? Borrow loan this much. After 1 year, you go to the bank and make this much of payment. But by the time bank charge this much of interest. Accordingly, from your installment, bank don't deduct your loan. Bank don't, right? Bank, for the bank people, they are not going to deduct your loan by the installment. Why? From the installment you pay, they initially cover the interest. Only from the difference they recover the loan. Principal payment the loan repayment equal installment, right? And from installment, you set off installment minus nisa, we just plus. So this is the loan reduction. That means even if you pay 1,598,889, loan will not be deducted by the same. From the installment, they cover the interest only from the difference principal or the initial loan will be repaid. Right. You had open balance of this much. From this balance, you paid only this. Then closing balance equal this plus this. So this is your closing loan balance. This closing loan balance will be the open loan balance for the next period. Then you can charge interest like this for the next period. Installment will be the same constant installment. Repayment will be bit more than that. Then this will be the closing balance. Then Lamai, you can copy this, drag these formulas, and end of the fifth year, your loan balance should become zero like this. You can see loan fully settled. So this is what we call Lamai loan repayment schedule. You can see we just use PMT function to determine the installment, which is bit difficult to use in other manual approach. But interest payment, you can see this interest payment, we could easily compute using our usual Excel knowledge. Principal payment, we could easily compute using simple formula, right? For this interest payment and principal payment, there are different supportive formula. Here for principal, right? Using PPMT means principal payment function again, principal payment we can find out. Using IPMT we can determine interest payment. But I think you can see you don't need to use this function, right? Why? Even without using this function, we easily could manage to right compute the interest payment and principal payment. In Salome, I'm not going to discuss how to use IPMT. Method IPMT function again. If you need, you can find out this interest computation. And PPMT function again. PPMT function again. If you want, you can determine this, but I think you can write, you all will agree, no need to use that formula because we can using this inside the loan repayment schedule, we could easily compute this using the simple formula, right? So no need to use IPMT function and PPMT. If you need to enhance your knowledge leisurely, you can try these IPMT and PPMT and find out how to compute interest payment and how to compute principal payment. Okay, but I suggest only go with PMT and determine installment. Thereafter, you can easily develop your loan repayment schedule without these IPMT and PPMT, right? So accordingly, PMT function is important. PMT function is used, using, right? Installment is determined using PMT function, right? PMT function again, tamai installment determine. That is important. If you can't determine PMT, if you can't determine installment, either by using finance, present interest factor annuity or PMT, you can't prepare this repayment schedule, right? That is loan repayment schedule, right? Now we'll try this activity here. We discuss this PMT function. We are not going to discuss, right? It returns the payment on the principal pay, right? principal payment. Principal payment එක අපි හොයන්න පුළුවන් using PMT function, but we are not going to discuss because it's not that needed because we can easily find out. Then IPMT function, using IPMT function lamai we can compute this interest payment, but no need to use a separate IPMT. You can easily compute interest. Interest is equal lamai මොකද්ද? Interest equal open balance times interest rate. Open balance එක post column තියෙනවා. interest rate එක මෙතන fix කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? Made this open balance time interest rate due to the interest payment. and එක drag කරපුවාම interest payment එක එනවා. and principal payment එක කියන්නේ හැම විටම installment එක minus interest. The difference between installment and interest. The balance එකෙන් තමයි principal repayment එක යන්නේ. Principal payment යන්නේ. So no need to use a separate formula to find out that. Right? So accordingly, I'm not going to discuss PMT and IPMT. Right? You can understand. Right? Understand in the sense it is not needed, but you can try yourself how we can use IPM to find out the main interest payment, how we can use PPM to determine the principal payment. But I recommend do as I recommend, I suggest, right? It's very convenient, right? You must know how to use PMT to determine the install. That is very important, right? Then we'll try this activity. Let's say first April 2019, let's make it 2023. First April 2023, Frederick Private Limited obtained 1 million loan at an interest rate of 18%. Loan should be repayable in 5 years equal installment. Then Frederick Limited එක 1 million අරන් තියනවා නම් interest rate එක 18%. 5 years වලින් repay කරනවා. Right? Prepare the loan repayment schedule. Lamai, since I have developed the model, you know the importance of model. Model we have developed and we have to only change the variables. What are the variables in this case? Loan amount should be 1 million. 1 million. Interest rate 18%. Lamai, already done. Right? The moment you alter the inputs, loan repayment schedule already prepared. So that is the beauty of models, right? The amount උත්තරේ හදලා ඉවරයි. But anyway, I ask you to prepare develop a model for this scenario. First one requirement to calculate the value of the annual installment. Right? Calculate the value of annual installment. Actually, right, already done, right? Our Kalin model can already work out to now. But anyway, do it yourself. Right? Inputs ටික දාන්න. ඊට පස්සේ PMT function එක දාන්න. If you want me to do it again, I delete everything and do it just to illustrate. Online activity මම ආපහු මුලින්ම කරනවා. These are the variables according to case activity 1. What are the variables? Scenario Frederick Limited එකේ 1 million loan එක interest rate 18%. Number of period is 5 years. We'll make it if you wish. Okay, we'll make it 4 years. Right? Interest rate, let's say I'm not going to change because we have already shared මේ සම වෙනස් නොකර ඉන්නම් මේක share කරලා තියෙන නිසා PPP එක. හරි. So let's develop the model. Two scenarios. First, compute the annual installment repayment schedule for 5 years and assuming repay this annually. Repayable in තමයි පොඩි change එකක් කරනවා. Repayable in annual installment කියලා දාන්න. Annual installment. Repayable in annual installment. මොකද second scenario තමයි monthly installment. ඒක ගාන මම පොඩි improvement එකක් කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? First, try to attain first requirement and second requirement. Okay, we'll see. මයිත් එකම කරන්න. Main inputs, loan facility 1 million, interest rate 18%, period 5 years. You need to determine installment. Excel වල කෙලින්ම PMT function එකේ installment හොයාගන්න. Right? How to determine installment using PMT function. Double click and get the variables. Rate is this, comma, Number of payments, period is 5 years. You are paying annually, and a number of payment is same 5 year, five payments, comma. Present value means the amount you borrowed today. Loan scenario ke present value means amount you borrow today. What you borrow today is your present value. Is your loan this much. Show the loan, comma. Future value. Future value is applicable if you want to generate a saving at the end of the loan settlement. That means you want to settle the loan in full. In addition, right? You want to generate a saving balance. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලගේ installment එක loan එක settle කිරීමට අමතරව saving එකක් generate කරන්නත් contribute කරනවා. Let's say we don't need to generate any saving. We don't need to generate any saving. Saving balance should be zero. We don't need any saving. And usually then whether you are paying at the beginning or at the end, most of the cases loans paid at the end again, as usual you can put zero. That's it. Hit the button. This is your annual loan installment. So we will now prepare loan repayment schedule. Open balance. Open balance is start with the amount you borrow today. At the beginning, your open loan balance exactly equal to what you borrow as the loan. So this is your open balance. Make sure you fix it, right? Don't leave it as a relative sale. Fix කරලා දාන්න. Then interest. Interest is always equal open balance multiplied by interest rate. Interest rate, and you have the intention to drag it, copy the formula. Because drag if you leave it relative cell, it will change. So hit F4 button and make that cell interest rate cell as a fixed rate. Okay. This interest rate is very obvious. 1 million to 18% annually 108,000 interest rate charge. Installment we have already computed, right? Installment තමයි මේ compute කර using PMT function. So installment is equal to what we have already computed using PMT function. So it equals to B7 value and make it fixed by pressing F4. Enter. This is installment. And the principal payment, that means loan repayment. Principal payment means loan repayment. Even if you pay 319,778, loan won't be deducted by the same. Loan from the installment, they will first cover interest. Only from the difference, principal payment will be reduced. Principal will be reduced. So principal pay equal difference, right? Since one figure is minus, other figure is made positive, you can say just add these two figures, this plus this. So loan will be reduced only by 139,778 from the first installment. The closing loan balance equal open loan balance. Don't say minus, right? I minus this දාන්න එපා. මෙතන minus තියෙන්නේ. So open loan balance plus දාන්න මෙයා because principal payment එකේ තියෙන්නේ minus නිසා. Then this is the closing balance. So make sure your closing balance must be less than your open balance. Your closing balance must be less than your open balance. Otherwise, right? It can't go other way, right? When you keep paying loan repayments, you can't, right, increase your loan balance, right? Loan balance will be reduced, right? Then very easy, or next period open balance will be equal to the, just say this equal to the last period closing balance. Enter. Then just drag this formula. Then this is an interest for the next period. Just drag the installment for the whole 5 years. That's constant. Installment is constant. It should be constant. Installment is fixed. And principal payment, just drag it like this for all the period. And closing balance, drag it like this. And drag it like this. Finally, it should become 1 minute. Yeah, drag it like this. It should become 0. Right? You can see. This is our loan repayment schedule. Assuming you borrowed 1 million at a rate of 18% for 5 years and loan is paid in annual installment. That's why after making the fifth annual installment, your loan balance becomes 0. Right? That's it. We will now. So answer for the first part, this is the installment, and this is the answer for the second part. Installment repayment schedule we prepare. Right? You can see we didn't use interest payment formula. We didn't use principal payment formula, we only use PMT formula to determine installment. That is important. So just use PMT function to determine installment. Right. Next scenario, same activity. Calculate the value of the monthly installment. That is the most practical cases, practical scenario. You borrow loan today and the bank won't give you the opportunity, chance to repay the loan in annual installment, right? If your mothers or your parents, they have borrowed, definitely your parents may be paying their loan, repaying their loan by way of monthly installment, right? We'll see how we can prepare the same, solve same scenario. That means we borrowed 1 million at a rate of 18% for 5 years, and loan is repaid by way of monthly installment. So let's try it now. This is annual loan installments. So we'll consider another scenario. Api monthly scenario ki api wenama hoyamu. Again prepare another repayment schedule, and we'll compute again monthly loan installment. Monthly loan installment. This is the first scenario, right? Make section ke part 1 and part 2. Part 3 and part 4. This is a different scenario. First scenario. Then monthly installment, right? Okay. Now we can use PMT function even to compute monthly installment. Using PMT function, we can determine monthly installment. We'll see. Equal PMT. Click on that. Right. Rate. Rate. Rate is 18%. Lamai. Now you have to, right? Be careful. This rate is Lamai annual rate. If you are paying interest monthly basis, this rate B3 should be divided by 12. This should be divided by 12 because this time monthly, comma. Then next one, number of payments. Loan period, right? Number of payments is loan period 5 years. If you pay monthly basis, your number of payments will be not 5 years. It will be 5 times 12. 5 times 12. Comma. Then PV. PV is the loan. What you borrow today, it won't change. PV is this much. Comma. Future value. You don't need to make any saving. Look at the requirement. No, we don't need to make any saving, right? So accordingly, saving, we don't need. No saving. Comma. Whether you are paying at the beginning or at the end. Practical case, most likely loan scenario. Repayment is made at the end. If you pay at the end, put 0. In case if you pay at the beginning, you can put 1. But most of the cases, 0 at the end. Enter. Now, my 25,393. This is your monthly installment. Right? We will see whether if you keep paying 25,393 for 5-year period, your loan balance should become 0. We'll see. Right. Okay. Right. Let's take the installment payment. 1, 2, 3. How many installment Lama you have to pay? Lama, you are paying monthly installment for during 5-year period. 5-year period, monthly installment. How many installment you have to pay? 60 installment. So you need to drag this till 60. 60 installment. Right? Open balance. Open balance is our loan balance. This is our open loan balance. will make it fixing. කොකටත් වඩා වුණ fix කරලා ගන්න එක F4 ගහන්න. Right, these are open loan balance. Interest charge. ළමයි, now you are going you are going to visit the bank end of month. You are going to visit the bank to pay the installment end of 1 month or after 1 month. After 1 month, bank will charge interest based on open balance multiplied interest rate. This is your annual interest rate. On the open balance, they won't charge 18% for 1 month. This is for annual interest. So, right, make this first fixed. Make a fixed කරන්න මුලින්ම interest rate fix කරලා F4 press කරලා fix කරලා this is the annual interest rate ළමයි. For the month, for you need to make it monthly basis divided by 12. Hard coding දාන්න 12 දාන්න පුළුවන්. We usually don't recommend to apply type figures inside the formulas, but I told you in special cases we can hard code, for example, 1 in a growth rate scenario, and if the number you type is not going to vary, for example, number of months per annum not going to be changed, it is always 12. Number of days per week 7, it can be hard coded because it is not going to vary, right? So according to 12 can be hard coded, right? This is our monthly interest for the 1 million for 1 month, 15% interest. Then installment very easy, already computed this and make it fixed so that you can drag it. F4 දාන්න වාට ඕන මෙයා පාතරම දාලා තියන්න පුළුවන් 60ටම එක ඩබල් ක්ලික් කරපුවම 60ටම එයා ගන්නවා ඔටෝමැටික් රයිට් අදින්න ඩ්‍රැග් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ ඕකේ principal payment is always equal the difference between installment and මෙයා installment minus එක plus කරලා දාන්න difference between installment and this enter second ළමයි even if you pay 25,393 bank won't deduct your loan by the full installment initially they cover the interest first only from the remaining balance they will deduct the open balance. So accordingly, closing balance is equal open balance. Open balance again, මෙයා minus දෙන්න. Already minus තියෙන ළමයි. So don't minus. Just say add. Add this because it's minus තියෙන form එකෙන් තියෙන්නේ. Then closing balance and make sure closing balance is less than open balance. Yes, open balance is 1 million. Closing balance is reduced due to the repayment. Now very easy. Equal your next open balance will be equal to this closing balance. Now lamai we have done copy this double ඇදලා දාන පාතට මෙතෙන් ගිහිල්ලා මෙතන මේ small plus mark එක double click කරන ළමයි hole එකට copy වෙනවා මෙතන ඉඳලා small එකට double click කරන්න copy වෙනවා මෙතෙන් ඇවිල්ලා again double click කරන්න දැන් බලන්න අඩියට ගිහිල්ලා 0 වෙලා තිබුණොත් අපි හරි 60th day එකට loan balance එක 0 that's it right now you know how to prepare how to determine the annual loan installment if you are going to repay the loan annually or most practical cases right banks loans are repaid monthly basis which case we can still use the PMT function make sure interest rate should be divided by 12 number of period or years should be multiplied by 12 loan amount as usual the fixed right amount you borrow then rest of the things as usual you can prepare the loan repayment schedule you can see end of the period loan is settled I think you got it right you must keep practicing okay right right next activity so we did both right annual gat kara monthly gat kara so in green color represents our annual the Excel sheet I will share with you. Green color, one color. The green color එක Excel වල තියෙන්නේ part 1 වල answer එක. Then control shift down arrow. So I'll apply different color for this. Let's say this beige color is for your answer for the second part. Right. I don't have second. Okay. Right. Then next one. Activity number 3. 1st April 9, 2023. Frederick Private Limited obtained 1 million loan, interest rate of 8%. This loan should be repayable in 5 years in equal installment, almost same, but there's a difference. At the end of the lease term or the what? Lease of at the end of the loan term or loan period, the Frederick Limited wants to have a saving balance of 200,000. So what happens now? FV variable comes. Again, Frederick Limited borrow 1 million and bank interest rate is 18%. Going to repay in 5 years. They are going to repay this loan in let's say first annual installment. But right, your installment should be decided by considering the loan at the same time your future target of generating a saving balance on behalf of you. It means you borrow 1 million today and you determine the installment in a manner that will let you to settle your loan and generate a saving balance of 200,000 end of the loan period, right? So it is accommodated. We'll see. Now we got the reality, right? You got the scenario. Borrow a loan. You want to settle a loan by paying off an installment, maybe monthly or annually. End of the period, you want to fully settle the loan. Not only that, you can withdraw a saving balance. Loan එක settle වෙනවා, deposit එකකුත් generate වෙනවා. That deposit value you want to generate is what we call FV in our syntax. FV කිව්වේ ඒකෙන්. So we'll apply that now. Okay. So we'll try this. Right? Same scenario. එහෙනම් activity 2 එකේ activity 2 we go to our calculation. So let's say this is our activity 1. I'll share this later. Answer to activity 1, right? Then we will now move to activity 2. Okay, making a different sheet, right? This is activity 1. In another sheet, then it, right, convenient part. Activity 2. Okay, let me format my table, right? Select the whole table by clicking this corner, control 1 and go to this number, decimal remove, thousand separator, minus figures in between bracket, and I increase my font size to 18 or 20, then it's more visible to you. That's it, right? Okay. Then I say here activity 2, activity 2. Okay, let's first identify the inputs, and use a color for that. Inputs variable, use prefer yellow color. inputs. So what are the inputs you usually have uh, for loan scenario? You must have these three inputs: loan facility, loan facility or amount you borrow, right? Loan facility or but loan facility. Then interest rate. Interest rate negotiated with the bank. Interest rate. Then period, very important. Term of the loan, right? Term of the loan or period. In years, Abhidam, right? We usually put in years. Usually put in years. Don't put in month, right? If you want to convert into month, multiply by 2 That's it. So these are the variables. And so what are the our given scenario? We know the loan is 1 million. Interest rate, I think 18%, same 18% is make it percentage by clicking this percentage mark. And the term of the loan is say 5 years. And this time you have a target future value. You want to generate a future saving. Let's say future saving. Future saving. Future saving balance එකක් දැන් ඔයාලා target එකක් තියෙනවා. Target future saving. Let's say target saving balance. Let's say අපි එහෙම දාමු target saving balance. Target saving balance. ඒක අපේ symbol එකක් ඇරෙන්නේ future value කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මම පොතේ loan එක අරගෙන settle කරනවා. settle වෙලා විරුණාම loan zero වෙනවට අමතරව saving එකක් තියෙනවා. You can take it home. You can bring it home. ඔයාලා loan එකක් settle කරලා ඉතිරි කිරීමකුත් කරලා ගෙදර ගියා. Right? So you can understand. Sometime most of the scenario FP becomes zero because people just want to settle the loan, right? They don't know, want to generate saving, but it is sometimes it's possible. You can go for this option. Bank will be very happy if you are going for this option because it reduces their risk. Okay. Saving balance, this case they want to generate 200,000. Right. Then we will move on to our important calculation. Annual basis of annual loan installment. Annual loan installment. How to compute my annual loan installment? You must use PMT, otherwise it takes time, right? PMT function use karanna mona. PMT type karanna. Then it comes this formula, double clicking and show the variables. First rate. And first understand what the way you are going to settle. You are going to repay the loan, look at the requirement, annual installment. Annual installment. Only the new scenarios, right? Same scenario, except for future target saving. Annually repaid, 5 year can repay karma. Installment annual basis. So it is very easy for us to prepare the repayment schedule. Only 5 rows. Right. We'll come back to Excel. Okay. Right. Second rate take this rate. Annual repayment is a rate is this rate. No need to divide by 12. Come on. NPR, number of payments. Since period of the loan period is 5 years and you are paying annual installment only 5 payments, no change. No need to multiply it by 12. Then present value always the amount you borrow today. Just show it. Come on. Future value. This time we have future value. We have a target future value, future saving of 200,000. Show it like this. Come on. The way you are paying the installment, you are paying the constant annual same cash flow end of each year for 5 years. End of each year. End of each year my by default is zero. Zero dana no dahita get one. Close. Enter. This is your monthly installment. If you want to make a comparison, check the same scenario අපි හැදුවා පොඩක් මොලේ නෙන්න intuition is same scenario we computed annual installment except for this future saving. Future saving නැතුව installment මේක වැඩි අඩු වෙන්න ඕන. We go and check future savings නැතුව installment same scenario same 1 million 18% 5 year period annual loan installment was just 319,778 because you right there you just your payment wanted to sufficient to repay the loan. So your installment was relatively low. But this scenario, this case, all the other factors remain same, but you want to generate the additional saving so that your installment value should be increased. Why? You want to keep paying the loan and you want to contribute to a saving. That's why installment value has increased by uh, certain value, right? Okay, we will now prepare the loan repayment schedule. You must know the headings. Headings, them right? Headings are the open balance, interest, installment, closing, repayment, and closing balance. We put open balance, open loan balance. Just say open balance, right? If you want, you can say open loan balance input. Open loan balance, open balance, right? Open loan balance, double click and extend. Then interest, then always installment, installment. Next one, loan repayment or principal payment. Installment minus interest, principal payment. Principal payment loan adu amount. Principal payment, right? Okay. Finally, closing balance. Last column, closing loan balance, right? Okay. Let me just extend this so that it's more visible. Closing loan balance, right? Only five heading, right? Right. Okay, these are headings. If you want, you can make it Control B and bold if you need it. Right. If you want, then put the installment number as well. One, two, only how many installments? Five installments, right? Okay, loan balance. Open loan balance initially this much. Better you can put F4, not needed, but let's put 1 million open balance. Interest you need to compute. I told you compute interest. No need to use the IPMT function. I didn't explain that. Interest is always equal open loan balance multiplied. You are paying, you are visiting the bank after 1 year because you are paying the annual installment. 1 year bank code go to 1 year interest ganawa. Open loan balance times annual loan interest rate. No need to divide by 12 because out the full balance out there interest. Installment we have computed using PMD function. Installment is equal, right? This and make it fixed. You are going to drag it down. Make it fixed by pressing F4. Enter. What on double click මෙතන ගිහලා small plus mark එක double click කරන්න. අවුරුදු 4ක් ගන්නවා. යාට intuition එක තියෙනවා. ඔයාලා මොකද කරන්න යන්නේ කියලා. Right? So it comes. Then principal payment කියන්නේ ළමයි හැම විටම principal payment is equal the difference between installment and plus interest.